Now, through the miracles of modern technology, zany worldwide banner featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim in an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all. Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, this is the after show. That would be the part that comes after the other part of the show. See how I'm always on top of this, guys?
Slick.
You're right there.
I'm a professional. Do not try this at home. Michelle has joined us. Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm sure people are missing me.
But you've been on your around-the-world tour, huh?
Oh, I don't know about around the world, but definitely busy.
Been a busy girl. That's right. Exactly right. And Jim is over there trying to run the board, but mostly he's just looking at hockey on the web or on TV or something.
What?
You sure she scores? Yes. I'm sorry, you said something?
Yeah, so we couldn't watch sports, so we watched hockey instead. Okay.
Oh.
Break out the drummer jokes. Jokes.
Hey, it's opening day of baseball season, a real sport.
Oh.
You know. Come on, really. The best sports movies have to be baseball movies. Are there any good hockey movies?
Slapshot, best movie of all time.
Was it Dream Team?
Sorry.
Classic, Paul Newman. Classic.
Come on, Major League, A League of Their Own, The Natural.
Would I be caving if I said I like baseball too? Would that be just
baseball
totally
movies?
caving?
Come on. I don't know why, but baseball seems to have the best movies. So there you go. Candlesticks, always good.
There you go.
So there you go. All righty. We got the gang together again. All right.
Let's talk baseball with Ken and Benny.
All right, let's talk to Ken. He's in Medford, Oregon. Hey, Ken, I appreciate you putting up with us yakking over here. How are you, man?
Pretty good. I like to comment about the hockey. I usually go to a fight and a hockey game breaks out.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you, Ken. What's up?
I got a problem with a lead bullet in a .44 Magnum. I have a Ruger. Actually, I have a pair of Ruger Super Blackhawks that I use for cowboy action shooting. I know they're a little out of character for cowboy action shooting, but they work great for me. And I have a Rossi Model 92 20-inch barrel. It's a round barrel, lightweight carbine that I've been using for cowboy action shooting. And I bought a Rossi made by Taurus octagon barrel stainless 24-inch barrel rifle, and was planning on using that more for long range in the cowboy action shooting, but also I use it for deer. I use it for local stuff. And the problem I'm having is I load the same round for my pistol and my rifle for cowboy action shooting, which it's a lightweight load, clays, powder, 5 grains, 275 grain lead bullet with a CCI 350 Magnum primer. And it works great. And it also works great in the 24-inch barrel. Perfect.
Okay.
But I loaded it up went to Hagen, talked to them, and I put H110, 24 grains, with that same bullet. And it works great in the pistol. It works great in the carbine, the little 20-inch barrel, except it kicks like a pissed-off horse. And then I get the longer-range rifle with the 24-inch barrel, and it flattens the primers.
So you get excess pressure.
Yeah, and I've used that same combination with the 250 grain Sierra bullet, and I have not had any problems in all three of the guns with the same amount of powder, 250 grain Sierra.
Yeah, but you're going to a heavier bullet, and it's a lead bullet, and I'm not sure how far out it's being seated. Is there any chance so you could have a shorter throat in that 24-inch barrel, and the lead bullet could actually be pressing against the lens? And if it does that, then your pressures are going to spike. There's any number of variables. The chamber's different. Who knows? But, I mean, basically what's happening is the rifle with the 24-inch barrel, it's telling you, I don't like this load.
Okay. Even though it works well with the jacketed, but not with the lead bullet.
Different bullet. It's saying, I don't like this load.
I put a non-crimped shell with the bullet in it to check the spacing between the lands and grooves and the tip of the bullet when it's chambered, because I had that problem in a Winchester 30-30, and it's the same in both Rossis. They're made approximately 20 years apart, but it's the same distance between the lands and grooves of the 20-inch barrel Rossi and the 24-inch barrel Rossi. But
how did you determine that?
Basically, what I did is I took a brand new shell, put the bullet in where it's just I used a slight taper crimp on it just so it's a little snug, and then I chamber the round and then pull it back out and see how far the bullet goes.
You measure the overall length of the cartridge at that point?
I use a micrometer to measure the overall tip of the bullet to the end of the case on both rifles.
And they got the same?
They are exactly the same.
Okay, so all right, well, so you have figured out, that's exactly the correct way to do it. So you have figured out that part, but for whatever reason, whether the chamber is tighter, whether the throat is narrower or something, that one rifle does not like that load with that 275 grain bullet, and it's telling you, boss, don't do this anymore. I don't like this. So the fact that another rifle likes it or that it likes other loads doesn't matter. It's talking to you, and it pays to pay attention. Yes,
and that's what made me concerned, and that's why I was trying to find out. I've talked to other friends and reloaders, and they can't understand because I slugged the barrel to check to make sure lands and grooves and distance was right. Everything there is fine. It's just there's something going on, and I was thinking maybe it was the extra 4 inches of barrel that was causing the problem.
No, that's not it. Because by the time that it gets out there, the powder's probably completely burned. That's not it. Whatever is happening at the chamber end of things, and I don't know what it is. And I will tell you, it's the weirdest thing. Oh,
the fact that the 24-inch barrel is stainless and the carbine is just standard blued steel. Although my pistols are stainless.
I won't say it couldn't be. I don't know how it would, but I have given up ever trying to say it couldn't be because, and I have seen, no kidding, rifles that are consecutive serial numbers end up with different pressure levels in the chambers. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why it is, but it's one of the reasons we always talk about when you're hand loading, you tailor to the gun. In this case, if you backed off probably 1 grain of powder, you probably would take care of it.
Okay, because I was concerned about backing off the loads because they suggest not doing too much backing off on the loads with the H110 in the Magnum.
How much is it filling the case? Is it filling the case pretty much, or is it just a little bit?
Yeah, it's about 30 thousandths below the base of the bullet, not compressed.
I don't think you'd have a problem if you backed off 1 grain, see what that does. More than that, you may want to switch to a different powder. See, now you're getting down into the weeds of hand loading. It's why, on the one hand, it's frustrating. On the other hand, it's so compelling because now you have a problem to solve, right?
Yes. I've been hand loading since my dad taught me when I was 12 years old, and I'm 60 years old now. So
Yeah. We're just sick about this. We've got this illness and go, oh, this is cool. I can't make it shoot. That gives me a reason to go work on it. And there we go, right? Yep. We're off to the races again, okay? And see, you and I are doing this. We're doing the whole gun geek thing. Well, it might be the seating depth of the bullet pushing against, and everybody else is going, what are they talking about? Well, that's okay. That's part of the fun of the whole deal. Keep working with it. You'll figure it out, man. You'll get it worked out. But yeah, pay attention to it because it is talking to you, and you do not want to shoot something that's flattening the primers. You're getting a little bit excess pressure there. But I appreciate the call, Ken. Good luck with that. Thank you, sir. Wow, that was kind of cool. You guys like that?
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen if he backed off the load?
Well, where he was going with that is some powders, particularly if you have slow-burning powders in a Magnum load, if you have a case with a lot of space in it, there's a phenomenon called secondary explosion something, SCE, I believe, if I remember right. Can't reliably be duplicated in labs, but every once in a while it goes off like a grenade.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking parts are flying, 50 feet away and people get hurt.
With less powder?
With less powder.
Wow.
Yes. So when they say this is your starting point and this is your maximum point, you don't go beyond it in either direction.
Oh, yes. I always thought you didn't go over the top, but you could always work your way down.
Particularly with Magnum powders, with slow-burning powders. There are specific powders that are made for light loads, and you go to a faster-burning powder or one with more filler. You also have, imagine this is getting kind of deep, but imagine you had a big, long case like a 4570, big, long case, right? Mm-hmm. And you just put a little bit of powder in it, a light load, and it's kind of sitting at the bottom as the case is upright. But then when you put it in the rifle and it lays over on its side, the powder is now spread out across the bottom of this long cartridge. Now, when you set off the primer, if the whole thing was full of powder, it would ignite the powder at the back and it would burn progressively forward because powder burns. But if it's just a real light load, imagine this. The primer is actually explosive. It goes pow into the case. It blows all of the powder up into the air, and it all goes off at the same time instead of progressively burning.
Ooh.
Now, instead of having maybe 35 or 40,000 psi, maybe you've hit 120 or 160,000 psi, and your gun just came apart in your hands. So this is why I always say never go outside of the published loads, ever. On the low end, on the high end, on anything.
I'm glad you clarified. I would have never figured, lower is less. You're going to be safe. Never even knew that.
Yep. Nope. There's the one. You heard me harp about just the published load data, nothing else. Don't experiment. Don't go outside of it because it's like they used to put on the maps, hundreds of years ago. There'll be dragons there. Don't do that. So
nice analogy. I like that.
Let's get Benny in here before we have to run to our break. He's in Arkansas. Hey, Benny, thanks for hanging in there.
Hey, how are y'all doing today?
Awesome.
I'm good. We got kind of gun geeky on you there, man.
That's all right. It's good information. Good information. I've got a question. I've always loved the brand Ruger, and ever since I got my first 10/22 when I was young, and I've kind of collect them, and I thought I was I knew all about all the guns they make, but I was at a gun show the other day, and I ran across a 9mm carbine, and I didn't realize that Ruger had made a carbine, and so I wound up picking it up, and apparently the magazine for the P80, my P89 fits in this carbine, and I was wondering if you knew any of the history of it, because I guess it's been around for a long time. I just never have seen one.
Michelle, Michelle, you remember they called it the police carbine, the Ruger PC9.
I do remember it, and actually, I told Benny that he should probably get rid of that gun in a hurry.
and you'll help him out with that.
Yeah, I know somebody who might take that off his hands for him.
Yeah, I know where the line forms on that one. That was a real sweet little rifle. I have no idea why they stopped making that.
Yeah, as I told Benny, I wish they'd bring him back. So does everybody else.
Yeah, that along with the 44 Deerstalker, boy, that would be something.
Thank you.
But, the nice part of this is you can still poke around and find magazines. Mm-hmm. And a magazine-fed 9mm carbine is just a sweet package. I'm looking right now. I just looked on Gunbroker. Here's one listed, started at $1,250 on the bid.
Yeah, Benny, I'll give you a third of that.
Now, I do notice there are no current bids on this one. So, yeah, I wonder why.
I didn't have to get quite that deep into it, but it was the guy was proud of it. But I was really wanting it when I saw it. I've got a 44 Ruger and a 44 Winchester to match. I've always been I wanted the pistol and rifle to have the same caliber and that 9mm. And I've got a Marlin Camp 9mm, and my Smith & Wesson 659, I believe, is the
man. You've got a lot of nice little carbines, don't you?
And I just always been fascinated with the carbine, and that pistol caliber in a rifle is just really good. And I've got that Ruger 44 that you were talking about. I've got that carbine. That's just my
Jim. Didn't you get one of those?
Oh, I've had one twice. The same one twice.
And you let it go twice.
It was called something. Yeah, it was called something before the Deerstalker. Actually, when they reissued it, they came out as a Deerstalker, I believe. I had one in a monetary crunch. I gave it to my landlord to cover my rent back in like 85, 86, something like that. And then it was like 10 years later, he found me and said, "Hey, you sold me this gun. I'm going to sell it. I thought I'd give you first shot at it."
Wow.
Absolutely. At the same price. I mean, how do you argue?
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah, I'm never letting this go. Never letting it go again.
Benny, I guess as you can tell, we think it's a pretty cool deal that you got this. Don't let it go. Don't be a Jim on this one, okay?
Regardless of the monetary amount you think you might get out of it. Keep it.
Yeah, because it's unlikely somebody's going to sell it back to you for the same amount of money.
Ever, yeah. So Benny's our official carbine man from now on.
No kidding. That is terrific. That is so much fun, though. Those are, and there's no recoil. And now here's the thing. What if you took that and took the barrel and had it threaded for a suppressor? Oh. And shoot subsonic 9mm ammo in it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That does sound pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound good? We're all going, yeah. I'm liking it.
I'm drooling on the board here. Wait a minute. This is not good.
This is not good. I think that would be about as sweet as it gets. Okay.
I want to ask Benny just one question, because we have people often ask this, that what is, and actually I was just, earlier on the screen calling today, why are people interested in having a rifle and a handgun in the same caliber? Why are they interested in that? So, Benny, was there a reason you were pulled to that 9mm carbine?
Well, I just like, I guess in the old Western movies, the cowboys had their gun belt, and I always just assumed that the gun on their pistol belt would be the same one they use in their Winchester or whatever.
Yep.
And that was kind of where it started. And for me, and for the magazine to interchange on an automatic or on a semi-auto, it just was real good. So
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, when you can use the same magazine, ideally you would have the same magazine for your handgun and your carbine, and now, I think in reality and practicality, it probably doesn't make a bit of difference, but it sure is a fun thing for us to think about.
Well, ammunition's much easier. You don't have to worry about it getting as confusing.
There's that,
Wait, slow down. Slow down for me.
9mm pistol.
Okay, so that's
9mm rifle.
9mm rifle.
is an 18mm.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Then you have to make allowances for Jim. What can I tell you, man? It's just what it is.
Oh.
All right, Benny. Look, thank you for the call. That's cool. I think you scored big on that one. That's neat. All right. Tell you what, a quick break here. When we come back, let's talk about carbines and other guns during the after show at Gun Talk. Be right back.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
All right, we're back, and Jim is still drooling on the board back there, which is not a good thing. But, fortunately, it's your mixing board. I don't care, actually. The truth of it is.
We're going to wrap it in plastic next time.
I hope we're on the air next week. Oh, yeah.
He's got the drool bib going, like when he's teething. It's just...
Like Grandma's couch, it's wrapped in plastic.
I call it a drool trough. Nice.
I love it. That's right. It never comes off. Well, you got to keep it clean. Well, then you don't get to enjoy it. Yeah, but I'm going to. Okay, we're not going anywhere. We're just going in circles on this thing. Okay.
It's great on a sweaty day.
Vinyl. It's like when you sit on vinyl with wearing shorts.
A little bit of skin left behind.
Cowabunga.
Okay.
Hot vinyl seats in your car, and you get in wearing shorts. Yeah, that'll heal in about 3 weeks. It'll be okay. So there you go. Here, rub this salve on it. It'll be good. That's all right.
Nice.
Hey, boy. So who remembers Solar Cane?
I do.
No,
I remember Solar Cane.
What is that?
Yeah, spray
look
can.
at the youngin'. There's a white and red and blue spray can, I believe.
Aerosol, basically skin deadener. So, desensitize everything. You spray it on sunburns after you get sunburned, and you go, okay, I don't feel it anymore. I can go out in the sun again.
Right. Don't prevent it. Just put this on so you don't feel what you did to yourself.
Now you don't feel that you have second-degree burns. It's all good.
And you say they don't make that anymore.
You can't imagine.
They do. You can find Solar Cane. Get on the website right now. I will prove to you. Go to Amazon Prime.
He's going to get a case of it just for that reason.
Show you, yeah.
Put it with your first aid kits that you need now.
I am not childish, and I will do this just to show you that.
Are you done?
You know what I did this week, Tom? Not that you care, but I'm going to share it with you.
Go ahead. I'll pretend I'm interested.
Okay.
It's okay. Okay, good.
I shot 3 different high-point pistols in the past 10 days or so. And I've always made jokes. To be honest, I've made jokes about them because they're a low quality gun. And my buddy's like, it's all I can afford. And it's obviously way better than no gun. All three of them were at 50, 60 feet were right on. And they're big and bulky, but I have to take back some of the things I've said, because if that's the budget you're in, it's going to be to stick.
They are excellent in filling the role of a gun. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that to be clever or anything. They actually, if you want a finely made pistol that feels great, and that's not what you're looking for. But if you want an inexpensive gun that will go bang and you can use it for self-protection, why not? I'm there with you, man.
As
long as it's reliable. The only thing is it reliable? That's the only question.
Right, we had no jams. All three of them had zero jams.
Well, that's all you can look for. And that shot 2-point of aim?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're right on. He's like, I think I should adjust it. I said, I wouldn't touch it. Something comes out of the box that good, I just don't mess with it. If it's, you're a quarter inch off at 30 feet, that's odds are that's me. That's not the gun.
Yes, exactly right. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I have to eat some of my words. I'm eating crow as we speak.
I'll send you some Tabasco, some Louisiana hot sauce.
Help it go down a little bit.
Yeah, it still tastes nasty, but now it's spicy and nasty. So there you go.
Right.
You'll think of them with the intake and outtake. Intake and output, I guess I should say.
Well, you said screen calling earlier, so I'm going to just negate those two. Call it even.
There you go. Well, Michelle, when we were out with Paul Markle this past week on Tuesday shooting video, shooting several different guns, he has an interesting drill. We did not get into it on the show, but he calls it the one box workout. His whole deal is most people go to the range and just throw rounds down range, and when they're done, they feel like they've practiced, and they haven't actually done anything other than throw rounds down range and convert money into noise. Mm-hmm. And so he has a drill. You take a box of 50 rounds for your pistol, and you shoot the first 10 rounds two-handed as slow as you want to, trying to make the smallest group you can, just really concentrating. Mm-hmm. The next 10 rounds are all fired with your strong hand, right hand if you're right-handed. The next 10 rounds are all with the other hand, slow fire, no hurry. The next 10 rounds are shot either from the holster, if your range will let you do that, or with the gun just sitting on the table, the little shelf in front of you, just pick it up and then fire 2 rounds, pick it up, go bang, bang, and then put it back down, 10 rounds that way. And then the last 10 rounds is you take 3 magazines, you put 2 or 3 rounds in each one, you shoot until it's empty, then reload, shoot till it's empty, then reload, shoot till it's empty. And you've shot 50 rounds and you have practiced 5 different things. I thought that was brilliant.
That's pretty awesome, yeah. That's a great way to practice.
And then you come away and you go, okay, I've worked on precision, I've worked on one-handed shooting, weak-handed shooting, picking up and either drawing or shooting quickly with a double tap, and I've worked on my reload. That's not bad.
No. Yeah. And for all those revolver fans, you do the same thing with a speed loader.
Yes, and we actually did it. Where I was going with that was I introduced him to, he had never seen the 327 Ruger LCR.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had one now, Tom.
I don't. I have 2.
He had to one-up us.
But if we team up.
Well, Ryan thinks one of them is his, but I know better.
Yeah.
And what did Paul think of that pistol?
He didn't know much about it. Like everybody else, he said, it's a 32. And I was shooting the light loads in it, and then I explained, said, this, and you put the 327 Federal in it, and you go, oh, okay, that's actually a Magnum load. Yes, it is. Okay. So he's a big fan of a small revolver for a lot of situations, as are most trainers. And now he was carrying, he's a Glock guy, like a lot of military law enforcement guys. So he's carrying a Glock, I think it was probably a 19, and then as his backup gun in a pocket holster, what do you have? A Diamondback in 9mm.
Okay.
Small semi-auto, which had like 6 or 10 malfunctions while we were shooting it.
Oh, well, there's a good drill.
Yeah, and a good reason for the revolver, because if you have to go to your backup gun, you really want it to work, because things have gone bad up to this point.
Yeah, and revolvers. I mean, there's such a handoff there, because revolvers are going to work, right? And that's the idea.
They're just, and if they go click, you just pull the trigger again, and they go bang.
Right, but you've got to carry spare ammo. 5 or 6 rounds isn't enough, or 8 in that one Smith you're talking about. But extra rounds in a speed loader. That's pretty bulky in your pocket or your pouch or whatever.
Or, you can go the speed strips, which I think is a nice compromise. Then they're flat. They'll go in like if you're going a pants pocket, front or back pants pocket, little speed strip. They're a little slower than a true speed loader, but you're loading 2 rounds at a time, pop, 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 and you've got 6 rounds in your gun. Good to go.
Okay, all right.
So is it Tough? TUFF is the brand for the speed strips. Bianchi also made speed strips, but I think Tough has more of them now.
Huh, cool.
But yes, if you're having to go to your backup gun, things are not going well for you that day.
Right.
For whatever reason, and you really seriously do want it to go off. I don't know if it was his gun or his ammo or the combination thereof or what, but he was having problems with it.
One of the things that we run across quite often, because pocket carry is pretty popular with the amount of small firearms that are out there now, and he hit the target right on, so to speak, when he was talking about making sure your pistol is in some kind of a holster. And even then, I think people need to pay strong attention because pocket holsters or just anything in your pocket tends to collect an awful lot of lint.
Yeah, just junk and lint and crud in there. And it really does dirty up your gun.
Yeah, so even though they're in a holster, it's still important to take it out of there and pay attention to all the buildup that comes across that. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, in a holster, you take your gun out and you clean it. You go, wow, it's been 2-3 months I clean it, and I haven't even used it. And look at it.
Right.
Yep.
Really should be doing that about once a week because it's not a friendly environment. Because, like you said, just what you said, it's sweat, it's lint, it's junk, it's gunk. Things will rust. I mean, because now you've got sweaty environment in this little rubberized container. Yeah, if it's been 3 or 4 months, there's no telling what you're going to find when you take it out of there. Not to mention the fact that your ammo is liable to be corroded.
Yeah.
Especially down where you're at.
Yeah. Let me see. I just had an email from a guy. Speaking of that, where I was talking about ammo, he's talking about he puts his gun in his lockbox under the seat of his car during the day and then in a permanent mount when he's driving. He says he empties the chamber when he stores it in the lockbox and then he cycles around into the chamber when he retrieves it before he leaves the parking lot. So he's always putting the magazine in and working the slide and working, cartridge in, working it out. He said, when he did that this morning, he says, a round I was chambering fell apart. The bullet came loose from the casing, emptying gunpowder into my lap.
Oh.
He said, so I dropped the magazine and emptied the chamber of any remnants, looked at the next round of the magazine, and it was showing clean brass around the lip, indicating it was slipping out of the case as well. Because what he was doing was basically he has these 2 rounds, and every day he's going back and forth chambering the same 2 rounds over and over again, maybe a few hundred times. And eventually, if you drop the slide on a semi-auto and it racks that cartridge forward, you have that momentum, that inertia, and when it slams forward, that bullet may slide forward ever so slightly in the case.
Never even thought about it.
Who would?
Yeah, that's great information. Thank you.
INTOT.
Yeah. INTOT. There you go. So, Scott, thank you so much. I appreciate you passing that along. That was exactly INTOT. I never thought of that. And that's why we all rely on all the rest of us to share this stuff. You're going, I would rather learn it from Scott telling us about it than for me to go recreate that problem.
Right. Yep.
And lucky enough, he paid attention.
So now I will also say, look, if you've got your gun locked up in a lockbox, you don't need to unload it. It does not have to have an empty chamber. I don't quite understand that one, but that's a whole different deal. But just if you are working rounds in and out all the time, go shoot that stuff. The other thing it tells me is he hasn't shot that carry ammo. Shoot your carry ammo up every 6 months. All the stuff that you're carrying in the gun, take it to the range and shoot all of that expensive carry ammo and put some fresh stuff in there.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Tom.
Okay.
Something that has come up, well, just training questions, I guess. Okay. I had a gentleman come in to the store and was interested in getting his girlfriend some instruction, and it's a lot easier, for them to take instruction from somebody that's not related or not in relationship with. But he was wanting to pursue a long distance shooting with training, thinking that is the most important thing. Long distance, long distance, long distance. I just want your take on that. What do you see being the most facilitating manner of training on the range? Short distance, long distance?
What are we talking about self-defense shooting? Mm-hmm. Okay, what's he considering long distance?
More than 50 feet.
Oh, gosh, yeah. For self-defense training, I would probably do 50% of my shooting at 5 yards, 15 feet, maybe 25% of it at 3 to 4 feet, not yards, 3 to 4 feet, and 15% of my shooting at distances longer than that, out to about, I would shoot some at 21 feet, 7 yards. I would shoot some way out at 50 feet, just to show that yes, you can do that. But what's happened here is he's not clear on what the skill she needs to acquire is. The skill that she needs is not marksmanship.
Right.
That's the thing. And people go, what are you talking about? I'm teaching her to shoot. No, you're teaching her to save her life with a gun. Marksmanship is part of it, but it's not even the most important part of it. And the thing is, I could teach marksmanship. You give me anybody an hour at the range, and I can have them hitting a quarter at 7 yards. Mm-hmm. Just done, right? You can do it. Any of us can do that.
As long as they wanted to listen, yep.
Well, there wouldn't be much of the quarter left after that, but...
well, there you go. So the thing they need to learn is the other parts of it. How am I going to carry it? How am I going to get it out of where I carry it? How can I shoot it quickly? Can I double tap? Can I do 2 to the chest and 1 to the head? How fast can I go and still get good hits? If that speed is slow, then that's how fast you can shoot. Because going fast and missing is not all that productive.
Right, right.
I can only hit if I go slow, then slow is your speed. That's where you live, right there.
Right. I went to the same extent that you just explained. But I do believe that it is a misconception that a long-distance shot is necessary. For home defense, your longest hallway, 10 feet.
Yeah,
I mean,
20 feet tops.
Yeah, that's a long distance.
Now, just to be devil's advocate here, it doesn't mean that if you're in a mall situation, something goes bad and you got a shot at 80 feet, you're not going to take it.
If it's 80 feet away, I might just leave.
Well, I'm saying if you you should be able to hit it at 80 feet, though, no?
Right. Well,
maybe, not necessarily.
Okay.
It depends on what you want to engage in.
That's, you got to figure out what is my role, what is my goal. And my role is to take care of me and my family. Other people should have brought a gun today. Not my job to come help you just because you weren't smart enough to bring a gun today. Now, that changes for me, and everybody's got to figure out where they are with this, okay? But my thing is, that changes for me when there are kids involved.
Right.
That's just my personal thing. It may not apply. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just personal. If somebody is hurting kids, that's just my hot button, man. That's just
I get it.
Right.
I get it. I guess from my perspective, I'm thinking, if I can keep him 80 feet, him or her 50 feet away from me, 80 feet away from me, I'm not going to wait till they get in close for that 15-foot shot.
Right.
Well,
if it's avoidable.
Well, I guess but what I'm saying is, if he's 80 feet away, I'm running away.
If you can, absolutely, that should be your.
Yeah, I'm running away. I'm getting my family, and we're out the back door. Here's the deal: people who get involved in gunfights get shot. Good guys as well as bad guys. Mm-hmm. When you opt to get into a gunfight, you are now greatly increasing the odds that you will get shot. So opting out is a really good move. And people say, I can't believe you'd run away. Yeah, well, you know what? Get over it. Because yes, I would. If I had my family there, I'm going to run away. Now, the other part of that is, truthfully, I hate to say this, but most people with a handgun couldn't hit their car at 80 feet.
Right.
Okay?
It takes a lot of time.
I can, Michelle
Especially
can.
heat of the moment.
Well, I can hit it if I'm inside the car. But,
or with your shotgun.
2 out of 3.
With a shotgun.
Yeah,
That's
with
right.
the shotgun.
I got enough ammo. That's right. But, the reality is your best group that you can shoot at the range at that distance, now triple or quadruple the size of that when the stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, and my take on that is shooting long distances, it's a lot more challenging. I get the point that he was going to. It is a lot more challenging. It's harder. It takes more time. It takes a lot more concentration and steadiness. but that doesn't apply necessarily to a home defense situation.
Right. Home defense, no.
Well, let me just throw this out. From a training standpoint, could we not do roughly the same thing by taking that target, taking your little black magic marker and making a 1-inch dot on the target and run it back to 7 feet?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You're just changing the scale of the target.
You're just saying, okay, that's your target. It's only 7 feet away. It's like you can almost reach out there and touch it. But I want all of your shots to touch that little black 1-inch circle. And all that does, same thing as shooting at 50 yards, you're making them concentrate. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem as intimidating because the target's right there.
Right.
So just from a training standpoint, I would probably want to go that way, and just call that precision, not long distance. We're going to do some precision shooting, and then we're going to do some little faster shooting, and then we're going to talk about these different aspects of it, and we're going to talk about why you carry and when you can carry and when you can actually legally use your gun. And then let's spend about a half an hour going through the INTOT stuff of you see somebody hurting somebody else and you decide to get involved. It turns out that she was actually the one who just stabbed him, and that's why he just grabbed the knife out of her hand and is beating the snot out of her to keep her from killing him, but you decided to shoot him even though he was the victim in the case. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that. Right. Well, you had no business getting involved. Be a good witness, call 911, do what you can do. There are so many situations where you can screw this up. And I'm not talking about like, wow, I'll apologize. I'm talking about, wow, guess what? You get to spend the next 20 years in the state penitentiary. Or, wow, guess what? The guy just shot at you, missed you, and hit your wife standing next to you. Oh, I never thought of, oh, yeah, that's right, INTOT. Here we go. I never thought that bullets coming toward me might not hit me and might hit my kid or my wife or the store clerk because I invited fire to come over in this direction.
Does anybody else get chills with this conversation?
Guess I'm not going to the mall after the show now.
I hope so.
But, I mean, those are the things to consider.
This is the stuff you got to talk about. That's when it's just like what you're saying, Michelle, and you're talking to people, and all of a sudden their breathing starts getting slower, and they're looking at you, and you realize they have never in their lives gone there mentally.
Right.
Never. And if you won't go there mentally, there's no way you can understand the decision tree that exists here. And you want to take the first exit off of this decision tree highway to get yourself out of it.
Right.
I also think a lot of folks have never been on the other end of a gun.
Oh.
Thankfully.
Right.
Hopefully. Most people have not,
Right.
Yep.
Not unless they went to that one training place that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you know you're in trouble when a training place publishes their mortality rate. Yeah.
If you see like half of the students there are wearing vests,
yeah, there you go.
Oh, maybe this is a bad thing here. I don't know. But, it's why, I've never been in a gunfight. I don't ever want to get into a gunfight. But it's why I hang around with people who have been in gunfights. People who have survived, not just survived, but have won gunfights. And they say, well, it's like, I got a guy who said, the guy's got the drop on, he says, yeah, you can actually draw and shoot somebody who's got, who's actually pointed a gun at you. I said, really? He says, oh, yeah. He says, he yelled one time, he says, why are you wearing women's underwear?
Just to throw him off?
While he drew and shot the guy. And you go, well, what was that about? Well, if you were a student of all this, he was actually getting into this guy's OODA loop, which was the OODA. That's, if you read John Boyd and what he created for the military, you're basically breaking up this guy's decision-making process. You diverted his attention. They call it diversion, call it whatever you want, but you're messing up his OODA loop and giving you time to maneuver, react, to act, to get involved in that. But it's, once again, you have to have been there mentally. You can't make this stuff up as it, goes along. And that stuff's dangerous. It's like, we teach people how to disarm somebody. That's really seriously dangerous. You're like running probably at 80 to 90% chance you're going to get shot. Okay? Versus the 100% if you don't do anything. So either way, it's a sucky day.
Hey, thanks for cheering me up here, Tom.
Yes.
On this rainy, snowy day. Well, at least where we are.
Think about puppies and something happy for a while. But, people go, wow, that's just depressing. Yeah, it's real serious. And it's not nearly as much fun as just going out and sending rounds downrange.
Well, what if a guy tries to shoot you and he is wearing women's underwear?
Jim,
then what do you do?
Stop.
Well, what if he's wearing nothing? No, here's worse than that. What if she's wearing nothing? Have you mentally prepared to shoot somebody who's naked? Huh? Hey, stuff happens, man. You go, well, that's a real distraction. Yeah. And you react while crazy woman over there is killing people. Oh, I never thought. Yeah, I know.
Should have just put those dollar bills in the garter belt. It would have never come down to that.
INTOT. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Michelle?
Yes.
I know.
Yes. Slap.
Slapogram coming in.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have another?
No.
Don't open the door. Slapogram.
Land shark.
Land shark.
Oh.
Aye.
We had to go there
All right.
once.
Yes, that's exactly it. But the main thing is to get some training, because the trainers are the ones who think about this stuff and they can explain it. A good trainer can talk you through and say, okay, let's work on the stuff up close. We're not going to go fast. When you get to the drawing part, we're going to go super slow. We're going to fire one shot. And, one thing we didn't talk about, I would like to just touch on this for a second. Are you guys familiar with the term training scar?
No.
Okay, a training scar is bad behavior that you groove because of things you do in training.
Okay.
Example, a lot of times for police officers, what they do is they draw and they double tap, draw, shoot, bang, bang, then they reholster. And they'll practice this over and over and over. And now we have dash cam footage of an officer drawing, bang, bang, and puts the gun back in his holster, and there are still bad guys there because that's all he's ever done for practice. I draw, I go bang, bang, I put the gun back in the holster. That's a training scar.
It goes along with you revert to your level of training, and if that's how you train all the time.
You do that, yeah. In the old days, and still some departments now, if you have a malfunction or a gun doesn't go off or something on the line, you stop and you raise your hand, and a range master instructor will come over and say, what's the problem? And you report your gun is malfunction and all of that. I know of a guy who was in a gunfight.
No.
He was a cop with another cop, and the gun didn't work. Swear to God, the officer stopped and raised his hand in the middle of a gunfight.
Oh, my God.
Training scars. So what you want to do is...
There's probably a bigger scar than that. Oh, my gosh.
So, if the gun stops working, get it working. Tap rack, get another magazine in it. And by the way, don't be standing there when you're doing it. Be moving. Because if you're not shooting, you need to be moving.
That's what I was just thinking. Don't make yourself a bigger target. Make yourself not a target at that situation.
I'm over here. I'm over here.
Goodness.
Training scars. Back in the revolver days, the guys would shoot a revolver, cops would, dump the empties out into their hand, and then put them into their pants pocket. There's a great story in Bill Jordan's book, No Second Place Winner, about this involved ongoing gunfight on the border. He was a border patrolman. And after the gunfight, this cop has a huge bulging pocket full of brass. Because he's been dumping it out and dutifully putting all of his empties into his pocket in the middle of a gunfight.
I think there's other things you have to worry about.
That'll slow you down.
Training scars.
Yeah.
Are we actually training for what we would actually do in the real world? If the gun stops working, you must get it working again as fast as humanly possible. Tap it, rack it, put another magazine in it, do something. And then when you shoot, never put the gun back in the holster quickly. Stop, deep breath, exhale, let it all out. Look over your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder the whole time the gun's pointing down range. This fight may not be over yet. And only when you are absolutely sure the fight's over should you very reluctantly put the gun back in its holster. And that's how you should do it in training every time. Because you're practicing that part of it as well.
Makes total sense.
Training scars.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the more I hang around with these guys that do this stuff, I'm going, wow, I don't know anything, man. I hang around with them, I just pick the stuff up, I steal it,
and you share it. Thank you.
Yeah.
INTOT now. I never thought of anything.
All right, that's our INTOT moment for today. All righty. Now I got to get on Gunbroker and buy a Ruger 9mm carbine. Man, those are cool, aren't they?
Damn you, Gresham. Damn you.
I know. So.
It's Benny's fault.
It's all Benny's fault.
We got your number, Benny.
That's it. All right, guys, I am off to the hinterlands, and I will see you next week. We'll do this thing again unless they find out that we're doing it and cut us off and tell us we can't be on the air anymore.
Well, hopefully not. We'll see you next week.
They're always out to get us. What can I tell you,
Yep.
All right. Be good, guys.
Take care.
Take care, Tom.
Tell your friends about the Gun Talk After Show, a more informal setting featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim commenting on topics that are important to you. Available on iTunes and other podcatchers, and the Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android.